Cello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to New Moon Musings for the new moon on June 18th. So happy to have you here. We have an amazing session today with the Buck Moon. If this is your first time here and you'd like to know a little bit more about how to use a new moon reading to support you, keep watching. If you are an old hat at this, go down into the links below and click on the timestamp that says Soul Card. See you on the flip side. So here's how the new moon musings reading works. In the new moon, we have different cycles and phases of the moon. We have the new moon, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter or third quarter, and the waning crescent. The first part of the new moon cycle is the waxing cycle. So we have waxing gibbous, waxing crescent. What does waxing mean? Waxing is the energy of at the new moon, we are deciding what we want to work on. And the waxing is putting the action into what we're trying to create, what we're trying to achieve, a project that we're trying to complete. And then the waning part of it comes after the full moon. So you have new moon to full moon, that is the waxing. And then the waning is the full moon to the next new moon. And it doesn't mean that there's no action involved in the waning. It just means you're more reflective about what's going on. You're paying more attention to what action was put in and is it working for us, and do we need to tweak the process as we are working to connect the dots and find the completion to that particular cycle. Each of these phases of the moon represents a different energy that each of us is experiencing in the collective as well as individually. So what you can do is watch the entire reading once all the way through to get the overarching energies for this particular new moon cycle. And then throughout the phases of each moon, you can come back and review each of those phases. Now, it's not an exact science. I read it as though we have basically three days, 2.5 to 4 days. So take the average in the middle, 3 days in each phase. But the moon is a bit temperamental. And so sometimes you can be in one phase and lasting a little longer in that phase. And maybe the next phase will be a little bit shorter. And, for your neighbor, it might be the exact opposite. So it's important for you to really tune in and recognize where you're at energetically when you're tapping into these. So check out the timestamps below when you're watching this reading, anytime after you've taken in the full message and the full energy. So let's get to it. I'm very excited about this particular new moon cycle. We are in a buck moon. And what does buck moon mean for that new moon? When I did my research, it is, get a load of this, embracing and manifesting new versions of yourself. So how perfect is this that we all have the opportunity to really step into the who am I becoming? And I talk about that a lot. So this is a cycle to give us an opportunity to really think about what that looks like and to embrace it fully and to embrace it without hesitation. And the energies of this new moon cycle are going to support us in doing so. We are pulling cards from a deck that I got many years ago at a summer festival. It's called Wild Messengers, Alchemical Tarot, Lola Pickett. So we're going to pull some fun Wild Messenger cards, and I thought this was very fitting because of the buck moon. We can take a look at the antlers even on this on the logo, and then we are going to be pulling some affirmation cards on the new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, and the third quarter to get a full picture of what the fark is going on for us. So let's get to it. We're going to pull our soul card first, and as I'm shuffling the deck and just sort of feeling into the energy of this month, I feel like this month is actually going to be pretty big for all of us in terms of expansion. in terms of new, fresh ideas and the ability to enact them, the ability to make it work for you. So this is kind of exciting. And the soul card that we've got, oh, very interesting. So this is the Three of Air, Three of Swords. And typically in the traditional tarot, based on Rider-Waite, this is like the card of heartbreak, the card of sorrow. I also like to say the card of self-care. What we're looking at today is actually a ladybug. So I feel like there's a lot of energy in the collective right now around our soul card that is basically saying we are in the process of healing. We are in the process of taking a look at all that we've been through and trying to alchemize it to make it work for us. Air, mental energy, swords, it's the realm of the mind. It's communication. It's intuition. And if we've got a ladybug with us, it means Lady Luck is with us. So whatever you are thinking, whatever new things you are coming up with, new ways to connect, new ways to consider paths in your life, you have luck with you. Luck is on your side. I'm also feeling like when we're talking about this soul card energy, there's a lot coming up this month that is going to, I want to say, give you opportunities to create your own luck. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of idea out there when we're talking about luck and chance. That destiny, that, it's kind of like you don't have a say in it. And while I would say to you, yeah, a lot of times we don't necessarily consciously in these bodies have a say in what crosses our path, we absolutely have had a say in those higher realms and higher frequencies when we've been creating our divine blueprint as to, okay, I want to have this really fun adventure where I want to learn all of these amazing things about myself, but I don't want to know everything all at once. I want to have some fun. That's why we call it a game. So I want to throw in some random experiences. And I feel like that's what is sort of transpiring this month is we are going to be having some more random experiences, but those random experiences are happening because we are looking for, I want to say, a little more challenge. And I know you guys are laughing. You're like, I've had enough challenge for a lifetime. Like, I'm good, universe. Thanks so much. I don't mean challenge in the ways of feeling tested. I mean challenge in those ways of if it's, is it really worth having if you don't necessarily have to have a little bit of skin in the game to bring it on, right? So it's kind of like that. I feel like we are going to be having some more experiences that tap us into a little bit more of the adventure of the game, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go on to the new moon. And the new moon is happening for us June 18th. And the new moon is happening at 12:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for those of you who are night owls and like to be awake during the midnight hours, you will be able to witness sort of that new moon shifting over. And of course the new moon is like a blank slate. It's really kind of cool. So here's our card. So interesting. Okay, we got another sword. We've got a Five of Swords. And Five of Swords traditionally indicates some level of conflict and resolution, how you're going to resolve the conflict. Again, there's a lot of monkey mind stuff that's going on. When we're looking at this particular card, we're looking at a beautiful bear. And I feel like the thing that's popping into my head right now is actually hibernation. So I feel like during this new moon, there's almost this energy of, what am I storing up for? What resources do I need to connect with? What resources do I need to store up because winter's coming? Because I need to prepare. And fun fact, something that I just learned about, we all have this idea because of, different fairy tales and things of that nature to explain it to kids to kind of keep it simpler, that hibernation means a deep sleep. But actually, I just learned that's not the case. Bears don't actually go into a deep sleep. They absolutely can be woken up. It's more of like a state of, like if in sci-fi they do like the cryogenic freezing, or you go into this sort of cryogenic chamber and you can travel long distances without it aging the body, without it doing all sorts of things. It basically brings the body down to a very slow state. So you're still alive, you're still breathing, but you're not active, and you're not like burning the fuel, if you will, burning the calories, if you will. So I feel like this, what does all this mean? I feel like this all means that in this new moon, there's really a lot of energy around looking at everything that's around me and understanding I'm getting ready for a longer journey. I'm getting ready for a time where I might be, I might be more stagnant for a while, or there may be a pause. Because in that pause, I like to say pregnant pause, in that pause, there's a lot of growth happening. There's a lot that's going on, so that when I wake up, I hit the ground running and I'm ready to go. So energy of preparation, and I was just saying to you earlier, I feel like there's a lot of sort of expansion and then the resources to do so. Well, this is a month where it is about gathering those resources and making sure that you've got exactly what you need, because when you do come out of this sort of pregnant pause, you're going to be giving birth to this new idea or this new direction that you're taking. And the bear is basically saying, I'm going to help you by helping you to figure out how to store it up and how to go into that space of deep, I'm going to call it just sort of a deep relaxation, where the body just sort of shuts down a bit. Also, from a sort of a weather perspective and tradition perspective, June is summer. Right? And so summer is a time where the sun is out and there are plenty of, activities, to do, outdoor activities, and you feel alive and you want to take advantage of all of that. And it is the time to put that time and energy and effort into the prep work that's required, because winter will come at some point, but it's also a time to be out and to explore and to really feel life. So I know it feels like I'm giving sort of conflicting information. It's really about understanding I'm out in the world because I'm preparing for this next venture as we're moving forward. All right, waxing crescent. So now we are sort of moving up into the cycle. So we've got the new moon, and as we move into that waxing crescent energy, it's kind of like, okay, all of the things that I'm working on, the projects and things that I'm working on, I still have a lot of motivation towards that. And this is going to happen on June 22nd, and it's going to last till about the 25th, give or take. Oh, interesting. So we've got a beautiful water card. We've got 7 of water, 7 of cups. So when we're talking about 7 of cups, this is a card of choice. This is a card of options. This is also a card of overwhelm and overthinking. When you have too many choices ahead of you, it can cause you to go, oh, well, if I do this, then I might not be able to do that. And if I choose this, then I'm going to miss out on that. And so you can get stuck. And I feel like the message here, we've got Mr. Octopus here. He's got multiple arms, right? He's got multiple tentacles. So I want to say to you, you want to keep in mind during this particular energy of time that all of those choices can be a yes for you. It may not just be all at once. You can take a couple now and store it up for later and put your focus on one thing in particular. I feel like the real message here is the energy is going to be more conducive to, again, to the overwhelm, the overthinking, more conducive to, wow, there's so much ahead of me because I am sort of reinventing what's coming up and I'm preparing for that next phase, but I might be over preparing, or I might be stepping on the inspiration that is coming through and sort of killing it before it's able to have a life. So I feel like the message here is to be like the water, to really go with the flow and understand that, all of this choice, all of these different decisions that you have to make, you don't want to look at it as though I'm going to have some gains and some losses. You want to look at it instead as, here are all the different experiences that I can have. Which ones would I like to prioritize first? So there's a real, I want to say a real impetus, and I feel like our guides are basically saying, don't look at this from a gain and loss perspective. Focus in these few days on the energy of, all of it is mine to have an experience. I just need to decide what comes first. And for those of you who are overthinkers and you're going to have a hard time, determining that, what I keep hearing is go with what's right in front of you. Focus on what's right in front of you, because the other stuff will follow suit. The other stuff will find its way to you. It will sort of take a more divine order path for you. Sometimes more is lost through indecision than wrong decision. And once you choose a path and commit to it, the universe is able to now sort of take 10 steps on your behalf because you've already taken the first step. So keep that in mind during this window. There's going to be this feeling of overwhelm, this feeling of, okay, there's so much that I can do. There's so much that I can access, or there's so much that I can put my focus on. I'm overwhelmed. How do I handle that? How do I deal with that? Well, go with the thing that is in front of you first. And, I forgot to pull an affirmation actually for our new moon. Sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So we're just going to backtrack a little bit. I apologize. This one's stepping out to me. A beautiful little girl flying a kite, or being the kite. I think that's cool. So windy kite magic, my wishes matter. So when we were talking about the bear and sort of that hibernation and preparing for what is to come, I feel like it's important just to keep in mind that, whatever it is that you are birthing, growing, opening yourself to, it matters. It's okay to have those wishes and those desires. And it's absolutely okay to seek out the resources that you need to actually be able to make that happen, and make it so. So I want to say, don't shortchange yourself. Don't self-doubt. Don't go into a space, if this is your tendency, don't go into a space of, I'm not worthy. Why me? Why would that be given to me? Who am I to think in those terms? Who are you? You are a sovereign being of light. You are an expression of divinity. You're an expression of the divine. So that's who you are, and open yourself to that. Okay, so soul card, new moon, waxing crescent. Now we are at our first quarter moon, and first quarter moon is hitting us on June 26th, and it's going to last through till about the 29th. Oh, we have 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Earth, and of course we've got the peacock. So loving the peacock. Why do I love the peacock? I love the peacock. I have one right in my background, right? I love the peacock because the peacock says it's your time to shine. It's your time to strut your stuff, preen your feathers, show off those beautiful colors. It is not a time to blend into the background. It is not a time to stay small. It is, in fact, a time to celebrate what it is that you have gleaned and achieved, especially if we're going into this more, I want to say like that hibernating period, preparing for some hibernation, again, preparing for the pregnant pause, preparing for the gestation of what we are creating for ourselves, and we have choice and option. This is saying now, celebrate where you've been, celebrate what you've created, and I'm hearing very clearly for each of us, there's going to be an opportunity in these 3 days, in this window of time, where someone is either going to puff you up, they're going to acknowledge you in a public way, or you're going to do something where you're like, I need to tell the world about this. I can't believe this happened and I'm super pumped about it, or I'm very excited about how this is transpiring. So I feel like this is a time to celebrate not your wins. Celebrate your efforts. Celebrate, because that's, quite frankly, that's what it's all about. When we talk about the soul growth, it's not always about the win itself. Going into cliches here, it's not always about the destination. It really is about the journey. And yeah, when we get to the destination, awesome. And we can enjoy that. And we know that the soul path is going to only let you sit there comfortably for a little bit of time to enjoy that before you're on to the next. And so it's really that soul journey path that we are on. So the peacock is coming up during this time to say, enjoy what you've created, enjoy what you've arrived at, because you are, it's a 10. So you are preparing for a new beginning based on an already established foundation, but you're doing it with a lot of color in your palette. You're doing it with more wisdom. You're doing it with more experience and more knowledge. You're coming at this next chapter with more skill and perhaps a little more daring, being a little bolder about what you're going to choose and how you're going to choose it. So I feel like this particular window of time, it's an invitation. Like I said, some people may choose to celebrate you in those ways, and awesome. But I feel like there's also this energy of you needing to initiate it. You needing to say, wow, I did a good thing. Or wow, I really invested a lot of my time and my energy, and look at what I've gotten for my investment. And it's not about, preaching not preaching to the choir. It's not about like a proselytizing and trying to bring people into the mix with you. I'm not saying the right words, proselytizing. It's more like this is a time to toot your own horn. And all of us are going to be tooting our own horns, right? All of us are going to say, wow, look at how amazing this is. This is exciting. And then we get to toot each other's horns with that as well and say, oh my God, good for you. Pat on the back. That's amazing. And maybe it formulates collaboration. Maybe it's just simply that you are lifting somebody up and that you're choosing to celebrate a wonderful thing together. The point is you're elevating the frequency and the energy on the planet, and you're doing it in such a way that is part of the resource that you're going to be storing up for later. You're going to be using that energy in that next chapter. So don't negate the importance and significance of tooting your own horn. Okay, so because this is our first quarter, I'm going to pull an affirmation. Oh, I haven't gotten this one before. So we got a beautiful unicorn and some dancers or some fairies dancing around the unicorn. So here's our affirmation. Be an animal. Okay, be an animal. I share my world with animals which have all kinds of strengths. Well, how interesting that we've chosen an animal deck that we're using for our reading. So I share my world with animals which have all kinds of strengths. So I feel like this is also, again, the message, embrace the peacock. Embrace that peacock energy. The peacock says, yes, I'm willing to share my characteristics with you. The bear says, I'm willing to share my secrets with you. The octopus says, I'm willing to use my skills and abilities to hold all of your options and choices and take them with you where you go, so that whenever you're ready to use them, you're ready to use them and you've got access to them. So really stepping into the energy of animal power, that animal spirit guides, they all have something to teach us. So be open to learning, be open to the lessons. Okay, waxing gibbous. June 30th is when the waxing gibbous-ish, when the waxing gibbous comes into the mix. And it's going till about July 2nd, somewhere in there. So like I said, it's not an exact science. It's fluid, right? The energy is fluid. Oh, beautiful. So we've got 16, initiation. So 16, I believe, is the star? I should know this. So death is 13, the devil is 14, temperance is 15. Maybe, actually 16, maybe the tower. Yes, 16 is the Tower. Now that I'm kind of going through it in my mind. So see, I'm an expert, but I'm really not an expert. I read tarot intuitively, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, I don't know what this means. I don't know where this is going. But this actually makes more sense than the star and having the snake on here. So what does the snake symbolize? Transformation. And this guy's got his fangs out. So he's definitely, I don't want to say he's out for blood, but he's definitely in like, okay, I'm ready to make some change here. I'm ready to let you know that some things are going to shift. And of course he's a rattlesnake, right? But he's blue. So it's communication. It's connecting with what you really want, what really is your heart's desire, combined with where your soul path is at. And the initiation could also be the word catalyst. And that is exactly what the Tower card is. The Tower card comes up, and it doesn't necessarily need to be gloom and doom and dun dun dun. It's a shift in perspective. And if we can really look at Tower moments as happening for us, we can be much more successful with what actually is transpiring. So the initiation, I feel very much that when we're talking about this Waning Gibbous, it is an initiation into that, okay, I'm preparing for that next level. I'm preparing for that next path that's going to take me even closer to my goal, or maybe it's taking me to my goal. And I need a catalyst. I need something that is initiating me into the process. It's one thing, in theory, it's one thing to think about something exciting. It's one thing to have anticipation about a journey. It's another thing to actually get on the plane and start the journey. Right? So I feel like this is coming through because there is going to be a lot of energy of, all right, buckle up, because we're ready. We're ready for this ride. We're ready to step in and do this newness, do this thing called life, do this new version of ourselves. And as I was saying before, sort of expanding into the inspirations that we're getting, initiation and catalyst is also inspiration, right? And inspiration, Mr. Neo, inspiration is, it's the pure potential. And what is pure potential? It's an absolute nothing burger unless you put some energy behind it, unless you put some action behind it, unless you have a plan and start to enact the plan. So there's definitely going to be something that comes up for all of us. And I feel like collectively, it's not going to be like a big disaster. It feels a little bit more like it's here if you want it. Here's what's happening, and you can use this. Let's say you... And I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to happen. I'm just using this as an analogy. Let's say, surprise, you show up for work only to find that they've closed the doors. There was a big thing. They didn't handle it properly. And, the business is defunct. You can look at that and say, oh shit. What do I do now? And go into like deep depression or go into like mode. Or you can say, you know what? I kind of wasn't happy with the job anyway. And okay, I've got a few days right now of a little bit of vacation. I've got a few days to sort of regroup, to really get clear on what is it that I do want. This is a blank slate for me. What do I want? And then start putting the action behind it. So I feel like the initiation piece is coming to all of us to give us that opportunity. And I feel like it's kind of like a last opportunity. I talk about, well, it's a 7 too. So actually in the numerological sort of line, way of thinking, 7 is the prototype before it goes out into mass production. So it is literally the last opportunity for you to add shifts, add changes, to tweak the process. And so that's what this feels like. It's initiation. Okay, you're being initiated into this next version of yourself. And what do you want it to look like? Make sure that you put all the ingredients in that you want, because we're baking it up, and we're baking it right now. So powerful and potent energy if you choose to act on it, if you choose to accept it and embrace it. All right, so now we have our, we're up to our full moon. So full moon is going to be on July 3rd. And the energy will be lasting from the 3rd to the 5th.
Anyway,
and you know what I am seeing is the full moon is in Capricorn. And what does that mean? Full moon in Capricorn means that this is a full moon where you are going to be evaluating structure. You're going to be, I want to say, building or having the desire to build something, to create something that has foundation, that is solid. And it actually really ties in with everything that we've already sort of picked up throughout the reading. So I feel like this particular full moon, you really want to be, I want to say, embracing this concept or embracing this idea that you are helping the collective to create that new version of self. And there's an energy here of you already having an idea of what that version of yourself looks like. So the full moon is going to encourage you to really take the steps, really get clear on the plan. What is the plan? What are the next steps to getting here? Because it's happening. So I feel like that's really important. And the card that we got, we got our second 7. And that's really interesting. It's it's our third 7. And when you see the spread and the layout, they're all touching one another. So there's an important path here. So we have the 7 of Cups, we have the 16, which is a 7, the initiation or the Tower, and now we've got the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Fire. And we've got this beautiful flamingo. And I think this is really interesting because Fire and Wands is action oriented. It is connected to our passion. And typically the 7 of Wands is read as a card of defense, being on the defensive or feeling like you need to defend yourself. What I'm actually feeling here, especially as I'm looking at the flamingo has that beautiful ability to balance itself, and it sleeps sort of on its one leg perch and pulls up the other leg underneath of it. I don't know the specifics why that happens, but I'm feeling very much that the full moon, where normally we think of the full moon as cuckoo, everything just being like weirdly enhanced or just going awry and all sorts of stuff. I'm hearing actually that it's going to bring people into more balance with their passions. And the defense part feels like, here's what I feel, here's what I know, here's what I want to create. I'm passionate about it, and I don't need your permission to be able to create it. I just need to know, do you want to participate or not? That's all I need to know right now. And if you don't want to participate, love and light, go do you. If you do want to participate, here's how you can help me. Here's how I need you to participate. So it's defending your idea. It's defending your chosen path. I talked about earlier when we were chatting with the octopus. It's kind of that idea of you don't have to have, only one choice and you're losing out on the rest of the choices. It's more like, no, the octopus is holding on to all of that stuff so that when you're ready, you got it at your fingertips and you can use it when you need it. This is basically saying, and I have it and I don't need to justify why I'm using this now. I don't need to justify my priorities to anyone else. I simply need to move forward because I know that that's what's bringing me in balance. That's what's bringing me into deeper alignment or more solid alignment or structured alignment. The flamingo, I'm sure the way the flamingo body is built probably plays a big part in why it's able to, stand on one foot and be able to balance itself and to sleep and get its rest in that position. So there's an energy of resolve. I'm aligned, and so I can relax in that alignment because I know that my passions are guiding me. Spirit is guiding me. My soul is taking the lead, and I'm okay with that. So full moon is going to be really powerful. Not that you have to like put the battle armor on, but more so that you've committed to your path and you know what you know. And this is where I'm going, and this is where I'm growing. And either you're going to participate in it with me, or you're going to be a bystander in it, or you're going to just go off and do your own thing. Either way, or any way you slice it, I'm doing this, and I'm comfortable in my choices. So own it. That's what I want to say. Own it. Our affirmation for this particular period of time: shield of crystals. I am loved and protected. So yes, I love that we're getting this affirmation connected to our flamingo here, connected to the 7 of Wands, because this is the message. You are loved and protected. So just do you. Do what it is that you want to do. Follow that. No time like the present. It is now. And it is okay for you to pursue your passions, and to pursue your passions in a soul-filled way, with a soul-filled approach. So I am loved and protected. You don't need to worry. Don't waste the worry. Save that energy for another time. You're going to be okay. All right, so now we are moving into our Waning Gibbous. And the Waning Gibbous is actually going to be July 6th through the 8th, give or take. And, oh, interesting. We've got teacher. So in this deck, the royal cards are all called something different and unique. And to be honest with you, I haven't studied this deck enough to know exactly what teacher is. But I'm going to lean in and feel very much that, so it's swords, it's air. We've got this beautiful, I think this is an eagle, but I could be wrong. I'm not always great on the different birds. But I'm going to say, actually, I feel like this is more queen energy, and that's how we're going to read it today. So I feel like the queen is the teacher, because the queen provides a little bit of structure. There's that word, Capricorn energy, that is coming off of the full moon. The queen basically decrees something, but then she also makes sure that you know what you need to know, and that you have what you need to have in order to be able to sort of execute the order. And the teacher energy, we are all teachers and all students to one another. So I'm feeling like in these couple of days, what you're going to experience is you really being in teacher mode. Some of you are actually going to be the student in that teacher-student dynamic. But I feel like the majority of us are actually going to be in teacher mode. So what is it that you have to teach? Are you teaching by example, or are you teaching by traditionally communicating, passing on the instructions? Here's what you do and go do it. Like I'm not here to walk you through each step, or I'm not here to do it for you. I'm here to provide you with the information. And then if you have questions, you can come back to me. Or you might be that teacher that says, let's do this together. But there's definitely an energy of passing on information so that you can get to the next level. And it's you passing on that information. I'm just seeing in my mind's eye, some of you may even be leveling up at work, and it's having to teach or train somebody to take over your current position so that you can confidently move into your position and soar. Right? It's your time to move on and to soar. And so you're setting someone else up for success so that you also can be successful at what you're doing. But that needs to happen before you can move into that role or into that job. That person needs to understand what they're doing, because otherwise it's like a house of cards and it all topples, right? So I feel like this energy is coming through to say, embrace that teacher mode. We all have something that we can share with another person. And it's just up to you to decide, do you want to be sort of active in that? Are you teaching through example, walking your talk, and others are watching you, following you for that? Are you actually sitting down and teaching someone, here's how I've done it, let me walk you through the process? Or are you the teacher that is passing on the information and off you go, do you? And if you have any questions, come to me. This is all part of the process of how we are expanding into this next version of ourselves. And the teacher energy is significant because, and you may or may not already know this, but when you want to really learn something for yourself, go teach it. There's always going to be somebody that has less information, less knowledge than you, to be able to go and teach it. And I speak from experience here because in my previous lifetime, in this lifetime, I was a trained opera singer, and performed all over the place, and decided, you know what, I really enjoy teaching. And what I discovered, I went to school for opera, and like I suck at math and music theory and skills, sight reading and sight singing and all that kind of stuff. It would get me so anxious because of my perfectionism and all the rest of it, that I went through school, and those were the two courses that, I didn't do so great in. A, because of the anxiety, and B, because my brain just doesn't think in math terms. When I started teaching other ones how to sing, all of a sudden, all this other stuff just started to kind of make sense. And it was because I was in a position to be able to teach it from my own awareness, my own understanding. And through that, all of a sudden I would get all of these other hits, and I'm like, oh, I get that theory now. I understand why this and this and this makes this. And all of that came because I was teaching it. So where in your life do you want to improve? Where in your life do you want to accelerate your mastery? Go out and teach it to somebody else, because it will allow you to absorb and to learn more of the information. Okay. I digress. Now we are at our third quarter. So we're doing third quarter moon right now, which is July 9th to the 12th. And this feels really powerful and potent. Before I even turn over the card, I feel like this energy, we're in the waning phase right now. So when we're in the waning phase, it's kind of like the full moon is that potency. You're building, you're excited, you're coming to the peak of the energy, and then there's more of a reflective time. This energy that we're in here during this third quarter, I feel, is so potent from that perspective of ahas, getting big ahas around the already received intuitions or inspirations. So it's kind of like you're getting the second level, or the second hit of, okay, I got this one inspiration, which was amazing, and I've already started working towards it. And now I've got like this could be even bigger, or I could do this. And this would open up, a whole new sort of branch of exploration and discovery. So there's going to be potency around, I want to say, next level inspiration. And here's our card. So we've got the Empress card, Gaia. So the Empress card, I love the Empress card because it embodies so much. It is the card of abundance. It is the card of sexuality. It is the card of openness and divine feminine. It's all about the divine feminine, which is the nurturing, the loving, the resource, come into my arms, the lady of love and gratitude, the lady of love and compassion. But it's also an energy, and this is really fitting with the Gaia energy. The Empress basically says, come into my world. You can partake of what I have, and I am happy to be with you and to have compassion and, to support the things that you're going through, but I'm certainly not going to do it for you. And that's exactly what Gaia, what Mother Earth does. We have it all. We have to figure out how to make it work for us. She provides it, But then it's up to us to decide how we want to incorporate it into our lives. And so I'm feeling very much that in this third quarter, with all this potency, that's exactly what I was feeling. It's kind of like, okay, you get the second wave of inspiration and all of it's at your fingertips. But if you're not putting the work towards it, or you're not taking the effort to seize the day, to take advantage of that right now, and I feel that there's some instantaneous stuff. Like if you're not grabbing it and going now, it's going to go to somebody else, or it's going to move past you, or it's going to shift form and become something different entirely. So when we're talking about those second wave of waves of inspiration, it's kind of like if you've got an idea, you need to implement it now, or you need to take those steps to implement it now. Otherwise, it's going to somebody else. And not necessarily that that's a bad thing, because we will all benefit, depending on how it rolls out. But man, oh man, the regret is going to hurt when you're like, I had that idea, and you see someone who comes out with an idea and establishes it all, and they're the billionaire, and they've got, this life of freedom. And you're like, damn, I had that idea 2 years ago. Why didn't I act on it? It really did go somewhere. It really did go far. So this card is a reminder during this potent time that whatever comes to you during that time, you want to act on it. Now, if you have an idea for example, for a business, to open up a business, you're not necessarily going to open it up the next day. There are steps required to prepare, but it's I'm committing to this. Let me do the research to find out what it is that I need, and let me put my money where my mouth is. Let me take those action steps to claim the idea, to claim the inspiration, to put it into action, to put some structure around it. So reclamation or claiming. Okay, and because it's our third quarter moon, we're going to get our last affirmation. Oh, that's the one. Oh, I don't know that I've gotten this one before either. This is cute. It's like a little fairy house in a tree. Fly free. I receive messages from nature easily. Okay, so how fitting that we're getting this card along with Gaia. So it is that understanding that you do have the resources. Gaia is supplying those resources. You will get what you need in nature, whether that's peace of mind or quiet to be able to explore the idea further in your mind, whether it's being inspired while you are in nature, whether nature actually provides the structure or provides the specific resource that you need. Flying free means involving Mother Earth in the process. So call on that energy for your support. All right, and then we are at our Waning Crescent. This is July 13th to the 16th. This is the last card in our new moon spread. Oh, and we got 2 cards. Interesting. Okay. Well, this is really powerful. Okay, so the first card is Soul. And the Soul card, I feel here when I'm looking at Soul, we're looking at air. I'm feeling like the Soul card here, and I could be completely wrong, but just intuitively what I'm reading is night energy. So if we're looking at the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Air, this is, I see the vision and I'm going after it. And sometimes I can be a bit impulsive about it, but I'm definitely very action oriented. I've got a plan and I'm executing the plan. So I feel like the Soul message is really saying you're enacting the soul's plan and the soul's wishes. We've got a beautiful panther here, or cougar. So cat-like energy, very independent. So I'm feeling a lot of that energy coming up during this time. I would say to you, whatever your ideas are that you are enacting on, keep it close to your chest. Don't necessarily share it with the whole world until it's ready to be birthed and utilized. Share it only with people that you absolutely trust, or share it only with people who are are going to assist you in the process. But otherwise, I feel like there's an energy of independence and making sure that, not to say it's mine and I'm going to, keep it to myself. It's more of an energy of, I know intuitively what I need to do in order to make this beneficial to all. And I need the time and the space to be able to do that properly. So I don't want other people's blah, 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 blah in my head. And I certainly don't want someone else sort of working off of what I've done and pulling the rug out from under me. So there's an energy of working independently and being sort of fierce in that. Also, when we're looking at sort of panthers and cougars, they're stealthy. They can sit in a bush, still not moving at all, and observing their prey and waiting for just the right time to act. There's calculation in it. I feel like there's some energy there for you guys as well, with calculation, being calculated about your moves. And the second card is another teacher card, and it's water. So we've got air and water. So we've got both of the psychic elements, big psychic elements coming through. I'm thinking, I've got the inspiration, and I'm being calculated in how I'm going to do that. And now how do I feel into it in order to manifest it into the world? And whale energy, when we're talking about that sort of that teacher energy, and I believe I said teacher, I felt was like queen energy, putting some structure around it. Whales are great teachers for us. Whales have been around for a really, really long time. And, if you purport to sort of the metaphysical view of things, some people see whales as their own race, the highly intelligent, just like the dolphins, highly intelligent, and they're just beings in a different form. And we see them as some humans see them as a lower form of life below humanity, but that's actually not the case. They're here as great teachers. And whales are communicators, but they communicate through sound. We can feel it in the body, and it shifts the body. It creates great feeling within us. Music shifts our energy. Music causes us to feel all the feels. It connects us to that heart space. So head and heart combined. And the soul is teaching us how to combine those energies to make them work for us. So it's a very potent time as we're sort of moving into this waning phase. And it's interesting because the waning phase is usually the sort of the reflective phase. Not that you're not taking action during this time, but it's more reflective and storing up the energy. But I'm really feeling like this is actually going to be a little bit different. You're going to be very reflective. You're going to be very calculated in your decisions, in your choices. And it's going to shift you in powerful, positive ways that are opening you to the soul's journey, the soul's path, the soul's direction. So that is our new moon musings for our cycle beginning June 18th. It was such fun to connect with this one. And I hope you guys have absolutely the most amazing month. Really step into this energy of understanding I'm building and creating for the collective by working for myself, by building and creating me, new versions of me, new paths and new approaches. And when you take those approaches off like a shot, it's great. So enjoy your month. If you need some extra guidance, you got a lot of things going on. This is going to be a highly intuitive and inspirational month. If you're needing a little bit of guidance or validation around what you're picking up on, I would love to be of service. You can absolutely book a 30-minute or a 60-minute reading with me, whatever you feel you need. I also have my guidance on the go service, which is great. If you just kind of have a single question, I have this idea. What do I need to know about the idea? Is this going to be something that I should pursue? Sign up for a guidance on the go, and we will get you that guidance from your dream team to get you started. So Be safe, be well, and we will see you next month. Ciao.